This video will change how you see Eren by Invaderzz has had the Attack on Titan community in a storm on both the manga side and the anime side. Whether you're a manga reader or an anime only, you have by this point, at least once, have heard of this video. I mean, it's one of the biggest Attack on Titan videos on YouTube. It has 2.8 million views, and this video has been talked about everywhere. YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, and Reddit. I mean, it is Yeager Bombs and Titan folks' favorite YouTube video, so that just shows how big it is. And finally, for the first time a couple days ago, I finally sat down and watched it. And to be honest, I'm not surprised it took me this long to watch it. I mean, I did say in my video on Sash, another ending defender, that to be frank, I'm just not gonna waste my time watching an hour-long video on Eren Yeager. And also just in general, I'm not gonna watch an hour-long video on anything on YouTube. Unless it's an anime waifu Mummy Milkers compilation video.
Oh shit, oh shit, it's another hit, get up on it.
And so like always, I gave into temptation, I pulled my zipper down, sat down, and finally watched this video. Now before I break down the video, let me just say this. I'm not going to be as mean or as rude to Invaderzz as I was to Sash. And the reason being is that the difference between Sash and Invaderzz is that Sash, I mean, he just comes off as an overpretentious prick. And me, just like every single one of you, we all hate overpretentious pricks. And Invaderzz isn't like that. I mean, in this video, he comes off as a, you know, just like every single one of you, every other person, a normal, chill guy. So I have no reason to be mean or rude to Invaderzz, just like I was to Sash. And I know, the thumbnail for this video is a little mean, it is a little rude, but I promise you Invaderzz, that thumbnail is the meanest I'm gonna be in this entire video. This video is strictly business and strictly professional. And one more thing, big respect to Invaderzz because he does have a video on Odd Taxi. And on YouTube, there's not many videos on Odd Taxi. So for Invaderzz to be one of the few, that's really cool. But yeah, if you haven't yet, go and watch Odd Taxi. It was the top 3 anime of last year. But anyways, forget about that. In this video, I'm gonna break down Invaderzz' video and how and why he's wrong. I'm gonna tackle his views on Eren, I'm gonna tackle his views on determinism, and I mean Invaderzz is just like any other ending defender. They contradict themselves, they blatantly misread the source material, sometimes even just straight up forgetting the source material, and just basic confusion of what's going on. We're gonna get into all that, and we're gonna start right now. So the first big and main point of the video, Invaderzz says is that Eren did the rumbling, not out of necessity, but because he just wanted to do it. And he also says that Eren doing the rumbling because he just wanted to do it is the primary reason why he did the rumbling.
And that desire from Eren brings us to the main topic of this video. Eren could not accept that the world outside of the walls was different from the free world he had imagined. And because of that discrepancy, Eren used the rumbling to destroy the world, not out of necessity, but because it was what he wanted to do. I'm getting ahead of myself, but I feel the need to say this now. I am not saying that the only reason Eren did what he did was because it was what he wanted, but I am arguing that it was his primary motivation.
And obviously, this is a complete misreading of Eren's character. And it's crazy how Invaderzz just completely misses or ignores the most basic of characterization for Eren's motivations to do the rumbling. Eren isn't doing the rumbling because he just wants to do it because for the heck of it. He is doing it out of necessity. He's doing the rumbling to destroy his enemies because his enemies want to kill Eren, which will actively take away Eren's freedom. And not just himself, but they also want to kill his friends and they want to destroy his home. And I find it funny how he plays a clip of Eren saying the iconic, "If we kill our enemies, will we finally be free?"
向こうにいる敵全部殺せば俺たち自由になれるのか?
But instead of getting the point of what Eren's saying, Invaderzz instead and purposefully uses rhetoric such as freedom obtained by the world being wiped clean.
Eren was not asking when the fighting would be over, but rather if the freedom he sought could be obtained if the outside world was wiped clean.
When no, Eren isn't looking for freedom by wiping the world. In actuality, Eren is seeking for his freedom by destroying his enemies because, once again, his enemies want to kill him and his friends and his home, which will take away Eren's freedom. That's the reason Eren is doing the rumbling. That's the freedom he seeks. Eren's freedom is freedom from being persecuted, freedom from being threatened by death. And also, when Invaderzz talks about how Eren felt not free at learning about the outside world from Armin's book, Invaderzz conveniently, or again, I don't know, purposefully, quickly glosses over what was causing Eren to feel not free. Yes, he is right. Eren was angry because he learned that the world, or the outside world, was taken from him, that it was inaccessible, and that he felt not free. But why? Why did Eren in that moment, when he realized about the outside world, what caused him to feel not free? Well, Eren literally says in that moment, and it's the Titans. his enemies. Eren said that he felt trapped in a birdcage because of the Titans. The Titans were the obstacle to experience freedom, to go outside. Invaderzz misses that crucial aspect of what Eren says. You can't just say, oh, Eren learned about the outside world and then he realized he wasn't free. Yes, but you're also missing this crucial aspect that goes along with that. And again, it was that he felt trapped by the Titans. And then later on, he talks about Schoolcast and how it links to the manga, and how Eren, even in a free world, would be bored, which will lead him to want to destroy the world.
Isayama has said before that Schoolcasts would be relevant to understanding the main story, and I believe that this is what he was talking about. In the Schoolcast universe, we see a different version of Eren. He's still the same character, but he lives in a world where he isn't restricted by walls and has never had to fight for freedom. This version of Eren was already free, and by analyzing him in that context, we can gain a better understanding of his nature. In this world without freedom to fight for, Eren was profoundly bored. Just like the Eren of the main universe before he discovered his own lack of freedom, this Eren longed for something interesting to happen.
Ever since I had that dream about the zombies, I haven't been able to stand this boring life where nothing happens. Of course humanity isn't in danger of being annihilated. It's impossible. A dream that ridiculous would never... No, wait. If the danger doesn't exist, then I could just cause it myself. A threat to all of humanity.
Let's summarize exactly what the implications of this are. No matter the place, as long as he wasn't free and realized that fact, Eren would always long for freedom. Without the need to long for freedom, he would be immeasurably bored with the world. In his boredom, he would long for a world without freedom, just so that he could fight for it. Eren would go as far as wanting to destroy a free world, just to create one where he had an excuse to fight for freedom. This is one of the most critical aspects of his character that you must understand. This was Eren's nature, no matter the circumstances, and it could not be changed. It had been a part of him since the moment he was born.
This is bad character writing. Eren, even in the free world, would still want to destroy it simply because he's bored? And Invaderzz calls that well written, fascinating, and a unique character motivation.
Whether or not you like this part of the story is ultimately subjective, but I believe that this is an incredibly well written, fascinating, and unique character motivation that deserves to be acknowledged for what it is.
Destroying the world because he's bored is a unique character motivation, according to Invaderzz. And that's because Invaderzz, he suffers from what I like to call Sash syndrome, or Sashism for short. Sash syndrome was first observed on March 24th, 2022. In patient 0, Cactus, there will always be limits on you, Sash.
There will always be things that limit you, no matter what.
And this was observed by Dr. Odin. And basically what Dr. Odin describes the syndrome to be is that basically takes away reading comprehension and just overall thoughts on a person's favorite literary work and throws all of that out the window. Because it doesn't matter what the author writes, whether it be bad, horrible, or just straight garbage, carriers of Sash syndrome, no matter what, will always say that's good writing. According to them, the author can do no wrong. Everything the writer writes is perfect. There's no flaws, it's perfect.
I gotta tell you, it was perfect. Perfect. Everything, down to the last minute details.
But anyways, these people will completely ignore all of the amazing character writing of Eren, of him wanting to destroy his enemies, to defend his freedom and the freedom of his friends and his home, which are all actively being threatened by the outside world. They want to take all that away, all that amazing character writing and motivation away, throw it out the window, and basically turn him into Michael Myers, who just kills for the heck of it, because he feels like it, he has nothing better to do, because he's bored. That's why. He's bored. And people actually buy that, and see that as good writing. Once again, Invaderzz called this well written, fascinating, and a unique character motivation.
Whether or not you like this part of the story is ultimately subjective, but I believe that this is an incredibly well written, fascinating, and unique character motivation that deserves to be acknowledged for what it is.
I don't know how Invaderzz and ending defenders see that as good writing. I don't know how they bought that, or I don't know how they buy this. I'm looking at point number 4. Eren would go as far as wanting to destroy a free world, just to create one where he could fight for freedom. All that because he's bored. What does Invaderzz and ending defenders, in the bottom of their hearts, do they actually believe that's Eren? Do they really believe that? Because to me, it's almost unfathomable how Invaderzz can take Eren doing the rumbling out of necessity because the world is actively trying to kill him. But Invaderzz is like, nah, that's not it. That's not the reason Eren did the rumbling. And also, it's not a very good reason. What is actually happening is that Eren did the rumbling and destroyed the world because he just felt like it. He's Michael Myers. He did it for the heck of it. And even if Eren was free, if he did live in a free world, he still would have done the rumbling. That's just who he is. He was bored. Nothing better to do. And that's why I brought up Sash syndrome. Because these people would take that and run with it. They won't question it. They won't even think about it. And I don't know why. I don't know how they don't see this as bad character writing and bad characterization. And it also doesn't surprise me, because Invaderzz and just ending defenders in general are the same people who, when they first read this page, which literally retcons the best moment in Attack on Titan, Eren's best moment, and one of the best moments in fiction, they didn't question it, they didn't even think about it, they just accepted it. There was even a, I don't know about that, that's kind of weird, that's a little questionable. Nope, they just bought it. So again, this isn't surprising. And then Invaderzz says that Eren was always a cold-blooded killer.
After his attack on Marley, Eren seemed to have changed into a cold-blooded killer. But that wasn't true. Eren had always been this way.
But no. I mean, obviously Eren did horrible things, right? Like the rumbling and the attack on Liberia, which killed an unfathomable amount of innocents. But at the very least, Eren had a fundamental reason for doing these, which is that his freedom is being actively threatened. So he does all this to prevent his freedom from being taken. But here Invaderzz is saying, no, not really. Eren just feel like doing all this because that's just who he is. He's just a psychotic, mass murdering maniac. He does it because he's bored. He's Michael Myers. Like, do you really think Eren stumbled upon Mikasa's house and he saw Mikasa and her family and the 3 kidnappers having a nice dinner, and they were just, talking about how beautiful the day was and just the beauty in life in general, right? And then Eren was like, you know what? I'm kind of bored right now. I got some time to kill. And then he just brutally kills the 3 kidnappers. No, he obviously killed them because he saw what they did to Mikasa's parents and for what they were doing to Mikasa. And also in self-defense because they were also trying to kill him. And towards the end of the video, Invaderzz says that Eren, even after destroying the world, Eren would still be bored and looking for freedom.
Up to his very last moments, Eren was never free. Even if he had accomplished his goal and destroyed the entire world, I think he still wouldn't really have attained the freedom he sought after. At first he would be at peace, but then what? Once he destroyed the world, what would come after? Just as Eren was bored with the world before finding out about his own lack of freedom, and as he was bored living in the free world of school casts, I think that Eren would have not been able to stand the empty, meaningless world outside of the walls before too long. He would be searching for some nebulous feeling until the day he died, never satisfied, always aimlessly pursuing something he could never attain.
And it's crazy because before he was talking about a hypothetical, right? If Eren was born in a free world, then he would destroy it, which in itself is already crazy. But now at the end of the video, he's saying, if Eren did destroy the world, then he would still be looking for freedom. He would still be bored. He wouldn't feel free. And it's like, how can anyone buy that? Ending defenders, why do you let your favorite character get massacred like this? Yeah, even if Eren did the rumbling to look for his freedom, which was destroying the world just for the heck of it, afterwards, Eren would still be looking for his freedom. He would still be bored. Sure, it wouldn't be immediately, but after a while, Eren would be bored and looking for freedom. Come on, really? Invaderzz, do you really think that's well written? Do you actually think that's fascinating? Do you really think that's a unique character motivation? Do you really believe that? But it also doesn't make sense because if Eren, like Invaderzz says, really wanted to do the rumbling, if he actually wanted to do the rumbling, then why does Eren, for 4 years, actively try to look for a different plan or a different solution other than the rumbling? It doesn't make sense. If Invaderzz is telling us that Eren in his very nature wanted to do the rumbling, then why does that same Eren try to look for different solutions to the rumbling? Why does Eren try to engage in peace talks with Marley? Why does Eren, Michael Myers Yeager, want to engage in peace talks with Marley and the outside world? Can Invaderzz or an ending defender, can they please answer that? That's what I want to know. Why does Michael Myers himself why does Eren Yeager himself?
Michael? Michael, stop!
Why does Eren, who in his very nature want to destroy the world, but actively tries to look for different solutions instead of doing that, like engaging with the Uzumabito, and even when those plans fell through, Eren looked disappointed, And then after that, he literally wanted to engage in peace talks with Marley in the outside world. He went to Marley, along with the scouts, to engage in those peace talks. But somehow I'm supposed to believe that Eren didn't do it out of necessity. He did it because he wanted to. That's just who he is. Moving on, Invaderzz says that Eren is a slave to his own nature. And this whole a slave to your own nature is some of the most pseudo-intellectual stuff I've ever heard. But instead of focusing on just Invaderzz, let me show you a clip from another YouTube video. And this clip comes from Sage's Reign.
The possibility that Eren is unfree lies not because of another's will, but rather because he is a slave to his own desires, to his own nature. Eren is a slave to the idea of freedom.
Eren is a slave to his own desires and his own nature. Basically what Sage's Reign and Invaderzz are saying is that it's free will, but they're trying to say it in a complicated, hyper-philosophical, highly intellectual way. Eren, a slave to his own desires and his own nature. That is textbook free will. That's what free will is. But they want to say it in the most pseudo-intellectual way to just like word salad it. And I don't think Sage's Reign and Invaderzz are doing this on purpose, right? That's just the material that they were given. That's just the way Isayama tried to write it. But once you think about it, you're like, wait, what? It reminds me of the Key and Peele bank robbery skit, where Key is saying, oh, I have an idea for robbing a bank. So this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna get a job. We're gonna get hired by the bank. And after about a couple years or a decade, we're gonna have a lot of their money. And at the end, Peele was like, bro, isn't that just having a job?
First of all, you and me start working at the bank. Doesn't matter the position, okay? Just so long as we get in there. Do the work. Gain their trust until we get them in the palm of our hand. They deposit the money into our bank accounts. And then 20 or 30 years later, we walk out the front door like nothing even happened.
Mother, that's called a job!
And the point is that Key, similar to Sage's Reign and Invaderzz, and they're not the only ones, it's any defenders in general. But the point is that similar to Key, Sage's Reign, and Invaderzz, they all try to say this, word salad, super complicated stuff, when in reality it's just, oh, so it's free will? Oh, so it's just a job. That's literally what it is. As simple as that. Now, before we break down determinism, let me just give two different points that I find, well, one I found funny, and the other one is just like a clarification. So I'll play this clip from Invaderzz.
Isayama certainly isn't saying that Eren is free of the consequences of his actions either.
And that, I just find it very funny how Invaderzz can say that, because Isayama did everything in his power, to try to take away any sort of responsibility that Eren could have had in chapter 139. I just found that very funny. And now the next one. Invaderzz mischaracterizes Eren and calls him an antagonist.
And it's at that point that Eren's role as the protagonist of the series switched to that of antagonist. He would continue to kill and destroy for his own sake, despite knowing it was the wrong thing to do.
So no, Eren is not an antagonist. He's actually a protagonist. A protagonist is the main character. It does not matter if they are bad or good. If they are the main character, they are the protagonist. An antagonist is the opposite of the main character. They're the foil of the protagonist. But anyways, now on to determinism. So Invaderzz says that Attack on Titan takes place in a deterministic universe. And so he goes on to define determinism.
To put it simply, the universe of AOT is a deterministic one. The philosophy of determinism claimed that all events in the universe are determined by pre-existing causes, including moral choices. This means that there's a cause and effect relation between all events in the universe. It also means that human free will doesn't actually exist. The universe of AOT operates on this principle, and this also applies to Eren and his actions.
And so Invaderzz talks about how Grisha gave Eren the Attack Titan and the Founding Titan, and he uses determinism to explain why he did it.
This is also why Grisha ultimately gave Eren the Attack Titan, despite asking Zeke to stop him. There's only one timeline, and it was the one in which Grisha was eaten by Eren. As a result, Grisha was guaranteed to follow that same path of giving his Titan to Eren. The reason why he chose to do so is heavily debated, but why he did so is irrelevant to the simple fact that he did.
And there you go. Invaderzz completely glosses over the Grisha plot hole. One of the biggest questions in Attack on Titan, why did Grisha give Eren the Attack Titan? And Invaderzz literally says, it doesn't matter, because determinism. Do you guys understand how crazy that is? I'm gonna repeat it one more time. One of the biggest questions in Attack on Titan, one of the biggest plot holes in the entire story after it ended was, why did Grisha give Eren the Attack Titan and the Founder? And Invaderzz is going, that doesn't matter because determinism, he was eventually gonna give it to him anyways. Do you guys see why that's bad? Because essentially Invaderzz is going, there's no such thing as a plot hole, as a badly written moment, as a badly written concept, or plot point. Because you can wave all that away because of determinism. That's insane. It really is. Take Game of Thrones for example. D&D can literally come out tomorrow and be like, yeah, remember when Daenerys burned down King's Landing? And all of you were like, wait, why did she do that? What was the reason for that? Was it the bells? And D&D can be like, nope, determinism. She was gonna do it eventually. So yeah, determinism. It was bound to happen. No, I'm not being funny. I'm not trying to like ultra simplify it. That is literally what Invaderzz just did. You can literally wash away any horrible aspect by saying determinism. But notice how me giving those examples of Game of Thrones and trying to use determinism to write away bad writing. Notice how me saying determinism didn't make it better, didn't turn bad writing into good writing. That's because determinism isn't a good excuse for bad writing. That's because determinism isn't a literary device that washes away bad writing. And then a little later, Invaderzz says that Eren is a perfect predictor and explains Newcomb's paradox.
But now that he had seen the future, he knew what he would choose. Even if this is what he wanted, he became aware that he never had free will in what choice to make. This leads to a paradox related to free will known as Newcomb's paradox. More specifically, a subsection of Newcomb's paradox related to retrocausality. In a world with perfect predictors, people who have seen the future and can make predictions about it with 100% accuracy, retrocausality can occur. If a person truly knows the future and that knowledge affects their actions, then events in the future will be causing effects in the past. The chooser's choice will have already caused the predictor's action. Some have concluded that if perfect predictors can exist, there can be no free will and choosers will do whatever they're fated to do. Eren knows with 100% accuracy what choices he will make in the future. That is to say that Eren himself has become a perfect predictor.
So Invaderzz is saying that Eren is a perfect predictor, and he has no choice but to follow the future, regardless of what he wants. But that's the problem, because the reason Eren saw he was going to do the rumbling in chapter 90 was because Eren wanted to do it. He willed it. When Invaderzz talks about Newcomb's paradox, in a vacuum, he is right. If a person truly knows the future, a perfect predictor, and the knowledge of the future affects their actions, then events in the future will be affecting the past. In that case, yes, there is no free will. But in this video, Invaderzz is arguing that the world of AOT is deterministic. So him using Newcomb's paradox as an argument under the guise of determinism doesn't make sense. Because in a deterministic world, the future is set by the actions or choices made in the past, as Invaderzz defined. The future that follows is caused by the past. The future that Eren sees should be tied to what he wants, because the only reason he saw the future of him doing the rumbling was because he wanted it, or willed it, to happen. It's not that Eren saw the future and then changed his actions based on the future to do the rumbling. No, there has to be a connection on both sides. The reason Eren saw himself doing the rumbling in the future is because that future was laid out by choices made in the past. So for Invaderzz to use Newcomb's paradox makes no sense for what he's trying to argue, which is that AOT is a deterministic world. Also, that last sentence of his explanation for Newcomb's paradox goes against everything that he's arguing about. Perfect predictors can exist, then there can be no free will, and choosers will do whatever they're fated to do. But ladies and gentlemen, just a little earlier, Invaderzz said that AOT is in a deterministic world, not a world of fate. And he also said that Eren is not being compelled by supernatural forces like fate and destiny.
The reason that the future is inevitable is not because it is fated by supernatural forces, but because it is a direct product of the past. Eren's past and the circumstances of the world had ensured that this was the only possible future. Again, Eren is in no way compelled by supernatural forces like fate or destiny to take these actions.
His argument for Newcomb's paradox goes directly against him, because at this point, he's arguing for fate. He is 100% contradicting himself. And Invaderzz doesn't even try to make a statement on whether the future happened because Eren saw it or because he wanted it. He deflects and says that it doesn't matter because Eren, whether or not he saw the future, he would have done it.
Eren knows with 100% accuracy what choices he will make in the future. That is to say that Eren himself has become a perfect predictor. That raises the question, where did his idea to do the rumbling originate from? Did it originate from himself? Or did he only make that choice because seeing the future put the idea into his head? That is what lies at the heart of the perfect predictor paradox. Regardless, it is possible that perfect predictions can align with what the predictor actively desires. And in Eren's case, as someone who saw the future that he sought, that applies to him. For Eren, the origination of his choices is irrelevant. These are the decisions that he would have made, whether he had known he would make them or not. I'd like to share a quote from Twitter user LLuck, who I think summed this up perfectly. Eren knowing what he would do in the future doesn't end up mattering to him during his actions post-timeskip. What he sees in the future is exactly what he would do even if he hadn't seen it, because this future is based on himself.
But it does matter, because he did see the future. And if Invaderzz is going to argue that AOT is a deterministic world, but then use Newcomb's paradox that explains fate, which completely goes against what he's arguing, then Invaderzz has to at least give us a definitive answer as to where Eren's actions originated. Because if not, then this entire argument, or at least this section of the video, becomes null and void. Because at this point, we have no idea what Invaderzz is arguing. He's saying AOT is deterministic, and then uses Newcomb's paradox to argue for it. But Newcomb's paradox explains fate. And later on, Invaderzz says that Eren doesn't know if he wanted to do the rumbling, based on the future or himself. Which, again, goes against determinism.
But even Eren didn't understand why his own nature was that way, nor exactly what it was that drove him onward. I want to share another quote from LLuck, who I think described this best. Does he want to proceed with the rumbling? Was that an idea that was put into him first by the future he saw? But isn't this future something his own persona created? Did he forge the future, or was the future the one who forged his rage? Both? It doesn't matter. He doesn't know.
I don't know why, but I wanted to do that. I had to.
Invaderzz didn't want to give us a definitive answer as to what gave Eren the idea for the rumbling. And here he doubles down on giving a non-answer and says that even Eren doesn't know. What? Invaderzz, if you're going to argue that this world is deterministic and that the rumbling happened because Eren wanted it, then you cannot have Eren himself say that even he doesn't know where he got the idea from. That goes against the whole deterministic argument. Invaderzz this whole time is saying, yeah, the rumbling happened because Eren wanted it. And here he's saying, yeah, never mind, Eren doesn't even know himself. And a little earlier before this, he said that Eren leaving the alliance with their Titan powers is another predictor paradox. This again goes against determinism.
Though he had the ability to easily take them away, Eren intentionally left the alliance with their Titan powers. All of that was to ensure that they wouldn't hesitate to kill him, and that they would have the means to do so.
This again goes against determinism. Look, let me just explain. The philosophy of determinism does not account for time travel, and or memory transference through time. That's why the second Invaderzz mentions time travel, or seeing the future, and pairs it with determinism, he immediately obliterates his entire deterministic argument, because at that point, you're talking about fate and destiny. And on the topic of time travel and memory transference through time, another thing that would go against determinism is the fact that Eren consciously made an effort to change the past. That's called a bootstrap paradox. Eren did it when he manipulated Grisha to give his younger self the Attack Titan and the Founding Titan, and he also did it when he killed his mom. Those are two different examples of Eren making a conscious effort to go back in time and change the past, or manipulate the past. That is not determinism. Determinism does not account for that. You guys have to understand that determinism does not account for time travel, memory transference through time, or seeing the future, or anything like that. And again, I'm gonna repeat myself. That's why the second Invaderzz mentioned time travel, mind transference, seeing the future, under the guise of determinism, his entire argument became invalidated. Moving on, Invaderzz says that Eren didn't know he would be stopped when he began the rumbling.
When Eren kissed Historia's hand, these are the memories that he recalled from Grisha. Grisha did not receive any memories from Eren beyond the scenery of freedom. That also means that Eren did not learn at this time anything beyond reaching that scenery either. But if that's true, then doesn't it mean that Eren had no idea he would be stopped in the end? And the answer to that question is yes. Eren did not know he would be stopped when he began the rumbling.
And 3 minutes later, Invaderzz says that Eren found out he would be stopped when he gained the Founding Titan in chapter 123.
Regardless, if everything I've just said is true, then when did Eren learn he would be stopped? The answer to that question is after gaining control of the Founding Titan.
And then later on, he doubles down on this and says that Eren learned he was going to be stopped in 123 after getting the Founding Titan.
So then why did he allow himself to be defeated in the end? The answer to that is that somewhere along the line, he saw the future once again. The question we need to answer now is this: when exactly did Eren see the future again and learn that he would be stopped? And we can pinpoint that exact moment. Eren's plans were stopped long before the Alliance ever got near him. Because of his imminent, unavoidable death, Eren altered his plans and gained 2 new objectives. His first new objective was to end the Curse of the Titans. He didn't know the specifics, but he knew that his actions would push Mikasa into making a choice that would eliminate Titans from the world. His second new objective was to make his friends into heroes.
So Invader says that Eren changed or modified his plans for the rumbling after seeing that he would be stopped. But this is also contradictory, because Invader says that Eren wanted the rumbling. He was willing it. So it makes 0 sense for him to say that Eren wanted the rumbling and then stopped because he saw that he would lose. This also goes against what Invaderzz is arguing, because he's saying that this world is deterministic, but determinism only makes sense by choices made in the past. Eren wanted to do the rumbling and then stopping because he saw the future isn't determinism, since he made a choice based on the future. You can't say Eren willed something and then stop because he saw the future. That's a paradox. Like Invaderzz says, a perfect predictor paradox. And as I explained, that is not within the grounds of determinism. In fact, what Invaderzz is actually saying, without even knowing it, is that he's basically arguing that the world of AOT is based on fate and destiny, which is the opposite of what he's arguing by saying the world is deterministic. Let me explain the difference between fate and determinism. So as Invaderzz explained, as he defined, determinism basically says that the future can only happen, or the future is determined based on choices or actions made in the past. That's determinism. Fate is that no matter what I do, no matter what actions I take, the future will always happen, or I will arrive at a point in the future, no matter what I do. So for example, let's say I have 2 choices, right? I can either sleep with my Mikasa body pillow, or I could go hang out with a real woman, which, ew, gross. Women are nasty and gross. So let's say for every day, or every time I'm given the choice, hang out with my 02 body pillow, or hang out with a real woman, I choose to hang out with the body pillow. And I do hang out with it because I will it. I want it to happen. And every day for the rest of my life, when given the choice, I choose the body pillow. So the future is determined because I will it. I want it to happen. Again, the future is determined by choices or actions made in the past. But let's say magically, one day, I don't know how, but I see a future, a nightmarish, scary future, a dystopian future of me hanging out with a woman. Based on my choices and what I want to do, which is hang out with my body pillow, I am not gonna choose to hang out with a real woman. Even if I saw a future of it, I would actively try to choose the body pillow every single time. Every single time. Me seeing a future of hanging out with a real woman should have no bearing on my choices in the present, which is choosing the body pillow. But Invaderzz says that Eren chose to do the rumbling. He willed it, and then out of nowhere saw a future of him losing, and then chose to lose. That doesn't make any sense. That's not determinism. There's no reason, if I do not want to, for me to choose the real woman in a deterministic world. And you can use many examples, right? Oh, every day I'm gonna eat sushi because it's my favorite food. Or given the choice between sushi and I don't know, seaweed, right? Sushi and seaweed. Every day you're gonna want to eat sushi because you like sushi. You will it to happen. But one day you see a future of you eating seaweed, you automatically go, yeah, you know what, I'm gonna eat seaweed. Even though you don't want to eat seaweed, you want to continue eating sushi. That is not determinism. That is what we call a supernatural force compelling you to switch from eating sushi to seaweed. Just like what's happening with Eren. Invaderzz said Eren wants to do the rumbling, but then a supernatural force made him choose the route of losing, even though Eren willed the rumbling. He wanted the rumbling to happen. So that's determinism, and what isn't determinism. Now let me explain what fate is. Fate is that no matter what I do, I'm gonna do a certain action or arrive at a certain point. So to say this, I do not want to go back to my house on this certain night, on a Saturday night. But no matter what I do, there will always be circumstances that take me back to the house on a Saturday night. Whether it be, I don't know, maybe like I'm arguing with my waifu and she kicks me out of her house and now I have to go back to my house. Or maybe I'm at my waifu's house, but then all of a sudden there's a fire in my house. The cops are there, the firefighters are there, and obviously I have to go back to my house. Or maybe I'm at my waifu's house and someone breaks into my house, which I then now have to go back to my house to make sure it's okay and nothing's robbed. Right? Those are just 3 examples. There's many different examples, right? But the point is, no matter what I do or what happens, circumstances will always lead me back to the house, to that point, to that future. That is what fate is. And that is what Invaderzz, without even knowing it, is basically arguing. It doesn't matter if Eren wanted the rumbling. It doesn't matter if he willed it. he was always going to end up losing. Which means a supernatural force, like Invaderzz says, fate, destiny, is when a supernatural force is driving circumstances to lead you to a certain action or a certain point, which is what happens with Eren. Invaderzz is arguing for fate, he just doesn't realize that. And also, Invaderzz says that he realized he was going to lose when he got the power of the Founder in chapter 123. But chapter 139 literally refutes this, because Eren is saying he knew 80% of the world would be destroyed. And also, Eren and Armin talk about the table scene, which Eren says that he pushed them all away in the table scene, so later on he can frame them as heroes. And Armin literally says, that was the future you saw at the medal ceremony, chapter 90. Which means Eren has been planning this, based on 139, the retcon. Eren planned this since chapter 90. Eren planned to be stopped. He planned to stop at 80%. He planned to make his friends into heroes. He planned all that. So no, Eren didn't learn he was going to be stopped in 123. He planned for it to happen way before 123. And also, if Eren did learn he was going to be stopped in chapter 123 after getting the power of the Founding Titan, then why is Eren in chapter 130 in his head? Why is Eren saying he's going to destroy the world? Why would Eren be saying that in his head? If he just learned that he's going to lose, that doesn't make sense, Invaderzz. That doesn't make sense. And this will lead to my next point. So we're done with Determinism. We broke that down. Or rather, Invaderzz did himself. But we have this moment where Invaderzz says that Eren acting is a misconception.
There's a common misconception that Eren was just acting throughout much of the story. This misconception mostly stems from people misunderstanding Eren's goals and how much he knew about the future.
And it made me laugh because, well, in the very beginning of the video, Invaderzz says that his intention with this vid is to close the book on the controversies and misunderstandings around Eren.
My intention with this video is to definitively close the book on the controversies and the many misunderstandings that have prevailed in the discourse surrounding Eren.
But the thing is, a lot of the stuff he says in this video, a majority of ending defenders still do not believe or hold. For example, the first one, Invaderzz says that the whole Eren is acting is a misconception. Invaderzz, I think, is the only ending defender that has come out and said, Eren acting is a misconception. Eren was not acting. Because 99% of ending defenders believe Eren was acting the whole time. You hear this all the time. I don't even gotta explain it. Eren was acting, he didn't really care, he was lying, yada yada yada. So that right there, most ending defenders do not agree with Invaderzz. And most importantly, his big main point of the video is that AOT is a deterministic world. But like I said in my Slash video, most ending defenders still believe that Attack on Titan is a story based around fate and destiny. That the main theme after 139 is fate. The majority of ending defenders believe that it was Eren's fate, that Eren is a slave to fate and destiny and Ymir, that Ymir was controlling him this entire time. That is what the majority of ending defenders believe. And to add onto that, something really funny, go on YouTube right now and search up Eren is free, and these two videos will show up as the top two. Both of these videos are ending defending videos. The video under Invaderzz video is an ending defending video. But both of these videos have completely opposite ideas on Eren's character. In Invaderzz we have Eren is not free, and in the other video we have Eren is free, he is not a slave. These videos are some of the biggest ending defending videos in the Attack on Titan community, but they have vastly different, conflicting ideas on Eren. And also, to bring back Sash literally said that everything in the Attack on Titan universe is because Eren made it happen, even way before Titans existed and even paths existed. Sash says that Eren even freed the pigs that Ymir freed. Sash says that was him. That was Eren that did that, even though paths didn't exist yet. The point is that Invaderzz did not close the book on the controversies and misunderstandings around Eren. And I'm not talking about any haters. I'm specifically talking about even amongst any defenders. They have vastly different ideas on the ending of Attack on Titan. And I've been saying this for a long time. Ending defenders, even amongst themselves, don't agree upon 139 itself. And whether that's a problem or not, that's for them to discuss. Because to me, it's pretty straightforward. I know what happened. I said this last time. Ending haters have the exact same ideas about what happened in Attack on Titan. We all agree on what was retconned. We all agree on what was bad. We all agree on what didn't make sense. We all agree on everything that we did the second 139 came out, all the way to this day, and nothing changed. And ending defenders, ever since that day, they just keep changing their ideas on 139. I swear, every 4 months, someone comes along or a new group of ending defenders come along and they have this new philosophical or thematic look on 139. It's always changing with them. And also, this whole thing with Invaderzz saying that Eren isn't free, it's basically contradicted with 139 itself. See, Yama literally says that Eren is free. in 139, which invalidates Invaderz's entire point, that Eren isn't free. And really that's the problem with 139, right? Because Isayama is saying that Eren was a slave to fate, destiny, and Ymir. But then in the same chapter later on, he switches it up and says, oh no, Eren was free. And no matter what, Invaderzz is wrong, because he's saying Eren wasn't free because of determinism, but as I just explained, that's wrong, and Isayama was not saying that with 139. And Invaderzz is also wrong because Isayama is saying, no, Eren is free. So either way, Invaderz's arguments are made null and void by different examples in 139. And I mean, as is the motto on this channel when talking about Attack on Titan, you cannot defend a retcon without retconning yourself. No matter what an ending defender says, it will be invalidated either by 139 or anything that came before it. And I'm at a point now where me, someone who hates the ending of Attack on Titan, someone who hates 139, I'm now at a point where I'm basically using 139 itself to debunk several points from ending defenders. I did it with Invaderzz and I did it with Sash. Invaderzz says that Eren found out he was gonna lose in 123, but 139 says the opposite, and so on and so on. And I mean, at this point, I'm basically the 139 defender. I'm defending 139 more than ending defenders are defending 139. It's just crazy. Again, the reason for that is because you cannot defend a retcon without retconning yourself. And also, Invaderz's entire point is that Eren isn't free. But I mean, as I just explained throughout the entire video, it basically would have made sense if Invaderzz was saying that Eren isn't free based on fate and destiny, not on determinism. Which Invaderzz at times in his video, he basically does argue that, he just doesn't realize it. But then again, even if he definitively did say that Eren isn't free under fate and destiny, it still wouldn't have gotten him closer to making a case for why Eren wasn't ruined. And before I get to my last segment, I just want to again mention this one point which I found very funny. But Invaderzz talks about Eren's inactions destroying the island.
Eren showed Mikasa an alternate reality, one in which they abandoned everything to spend their remaining time together. But a world like this could never exist. This was a world founded on a time paradox, one in which the island ended up being destroyed because of Eren's inaction. This world contradicted Eren's very nature. It was never possible to begin with.
And Invaderzz, did you not read the extra pages? Because that's exactly what happened. But yeah, I just found that very funny. Now for the last segment of the video, and I just really want to wrap the whole fate thing up. You never want to put fate and destiny into your stories. When writing a story, you never want to put the philosophies of fate and destiny into your stories. The only time fate has ever worked in fiction is JoJo's and Berserk. And I'm sure there's hundreds more, but off the top of my head, Berserk and JoJo's come up. And in Invaderzz' video, he talks about JoJo's and fate. But the reason fate works in JoJo's and Berserk is because you have certain examples or circumstances where characters defy fate. In JoJo's, you have characters breaking fate. In Berserk, even with the whole causality bullshit, the God Hand, which is whatever's. But even then, fate in Berserk works because you have characters defying that fate, right? And I mean, Guts' character is defying fate. So fate in JoJo's and Berserk works because it's not 100% fate, right? Fate isn't being used to its full extent. Because again, you do have characters defying that fate. That's why it works. And if there is stories where they use fate to its fullest extent, then I might as well just read or watch the ending, because why would I waste my time watching and reading the entire story if no matter what the characters say or do, that certain ending will always happen? I might as well just skip all of that and just read the ending. And you know, maybe there is a story out there where it uses fate to its fullest extent and it works and it does a good job of using it. It's very well done. But one thing's for certain is that Attack on Titan is not that story. In Invaderz's video, he says that the world of AOT is deterministic, that Eren wanted to do the rumbling because he just felt like doing it. He wanted to. He was bored. He's a robot. He's Michael Myers. And then he says that if Eren lived in a free world, then Eren would have been bored and he would have destroyed it anyways. And he also says that even if Eren did complete the rumbling, then Eren after a while, he would have been bored, still looking for freedom. And Invaderzz calls Eren's conclusion fantastic and inventive writing.
More specifically, and what I'm going to be focusing on in this video, is that Eren's conclusion was not only logical and natural, but also fantastic, inventive writing that truly elevated his character to a level very few could have foreseen.
Being bored, being Michael Myers, just doing it for the hell of it, according to Invaderzz, that's fantastic and inventive writing. Need I say more? But alright everybody, that's the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed, I hope you had fun, and just to leave it off with this, I know you guys want to pit me and Invaderzz against each other, Or some of you might try, oh, one's an any hater, one's an any defender, and they're against each other. But no, I don't see myself against Invaderzz, and nor should he see himself against me. I have no ill will against Invaderzz. I don't hate him, I don't despise him for thinking the ending is great, that Eren is one of the best characters in fiction. No, I don't really care. I care enough to make a video on it because I think he's completely wrong. But I don't translate that into I have ill will against Invaderzz. I'm not a hater, I wish the best for him. He's a fellow YouTuber. I completely 100% wish the best for him, I really do. Again, I thought it was cool that he made a video on Odd Taxi, so yeah. This video, 100% professional, so yeah, just want to say that. And yeah, again, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to like and subscribe. I would really appreciate it, and it'll help my channel out a lot. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for watching. This video was a bit of a long one, recording it at least. So yeah, I hope it came out good. Alright guys, I'll see you in the next video. Peace.